Just yesterday, the Oak Island treasure was discovered. And unbelievably, it wasn't the experts or the History Channel, but found by sheer accident. A fan flying his small drone over the island captured what may be the very moment of discovery. A random flight, a shaky camera, and perfect timing. Could this ordinary hobbyist have revealed the truth the world has waited centuries to see? Oak Island is small, just 140 acres off the coast of Nova Scotia, surrounded by calm blue waters. To the casual observer, it's just another island. But for over 200 years, Oak Island has attracted dreamers and adventurers. It's the site of one of history's longest-running mysteries, the Money Pit, a place where fortunes were spent, lives were lost, and legends only grew stronger. And now, the world wonders, is the mystery finally unraveled by amateur drone footage from a fan? The story, as many tell it, begins in 1795 when a teenager named Daniel McGuinness spotted a strange depression in the earth. He brought two friends, and together they began to dig. At 10 feet, they hit a wooden platform. At 20 feet, another, then one at 30. The spacing was too precise to be natural, feeling like a staircase of secrecy leading downward into a purpose-built abyss. Whoever constructed it had time, resources, and a plan that outlived them. The question that immediately rose, and never left, was simple. What was worth hiding so carefully? And from whom was it being hidden? Even in those first shovelfuls of dirt, the story set in motion a question that echoes today. What if the answer was destined to be glimpsed from above, long after the digging began? In the early 1800s, organized efforts took over. The Onslow Company sank shafts, fought the island's water, and pulled up more timber platforms. They unearthed a now legendary stone at around 90 feet, carved with enigmatic symbols that some later claimed promised riches 40 feet deeper. Whether that translation was fanciful or faithful, the effect was undeniable. Belief hardened into obsession. The pit seemed to answer the questions asked of it with further mystery, like a sphinx made of mud, timber, and sea-salted air. What if the riddle, carved in stone, found its modern echo in a few blurred frames the world wasn't supposed to see? By mid-century, the Truro Company took its turn. They drove an auger through layers of coconut fiber and putty, materials alien to Nova Scotia's geology, and reported striking something like metal at depth. When they withdrew the tool, it allegedly brought up scraps which believers swore were fragments of chain and parchment. Again, nothing definitive, just a suggestion at the edge of certainty, like a message spoken through a closed door. Each attempt added weight to the legend without relieving the pressure of proof. If every generation came away with hints and half-answers, could a single chance recording finally tip the balance? In the 1860s, the Oak Island Association dug deeper than ever before, both literally and figuratively. They sank more shafts, some of which collapsed catastrophically, taking men and equipment with them. On the island's eastern side, Smith's Cove revealed signs of human engineering, box drains, channels, and mysterious patterns that suggested deliberate water control, as if the island had been rewired to protect whatever was hidden below. The flood tunnels became a character in the story, an unseen antagonist punishing recklessness and rewarding patience. Lives were lost, and the number of casualties crept toward a haunting superstition, that 7 must die before the treasure is revealed. Whether that saying began on the island or was adopted later, it took root. If the island was designed to punish those who dig, what happens when discovery comes from the sky? The 20th century brought bigger machinery and even bigger ambitions. In the 1960s, Robert Dunfield arrived with heavy equipment, moving vast amounts of earth in the Money Pit area. He chased leads, widened shafts, and left a transformed landscape that future searchers would both rely on and regret. Dunfield's scale was unprecedented, but even he couldn't overpower the island's defenses. At the same time, Dan Blankenship and the Triton Alliance began a decades-long test of endurance. Borehole 10X, now legendary in Oak Island lore, offered tantalizing glimpses. Grainy underwater video that some believed showed hand-hewn timbers, perhaps a chest or even a body. But like so many images from the edge of the unknown, it hovered between convincing and ambiguous. How many times can shadows look like answers before a single clear moment breaks the spell? Even the personalities became part of the puzzle. Dan Blankenship was relentless and iron-willed. Fred Nolan, the stubborn surveyor, mapped the land and sparred with Dan for years. Their disputes over access and interpretation weren't just personal, they were philosophical. How do you balance intuition and evidence? How much weight do you give patterns that seem too deliberate to be random, like Nolan's cross, 5 glacial boulders set in a perfect cruciform? The line between nature and design was razor-thin. The island seemed to breed not only theories but also rivalries, as if conflict itself was another trap woven into its bedrock. If the land teaches caution and conflict to those who walk it, what lesson is there for the eye that hovers above it all? As the new millennium arrived, Oak Island's story gained fresh energy. 2 brothers from Michigan, Rick and Marty Lagina, stepped onto the stage with a mix of dream and discipline. Rick brought the spark of childhood fascination, while Marty offered a practical approach to risk and reward. Together, they provided structure, funding, and most importantly, drew the world's attention. The History Channel transformed a local obsession into a global conversation, and the rhythm of discovery, disappointment, and renewed hope became a weekly event. Season 1 reintroduced the island to a wide audience and outlined the work ahead. In Season 2, coconut fibers found deep underground suggested ancient engineering. Season 3 brought the controversial Roman sword, sparking debate and highlighting how the island amplifies belief. Season 4's fragments of parchment with visible ink fueled theories about secret manuscripts and hidden histories that could change our understanding of the past. While parchment, metal, and maps inspire the imagination, the real intrigue comes when a drone seems to capture a moment of urgency. In Season 5, a medieval lead cross was discovered, small enough to fit in your palm, but significant enough to shift the debate. Testing pointed to southern France and Templar territory. Critics questioned its age and context, while supporters argued that such an artifact shouldn't be in Nova Scotia unless placed there for a reason. Season 6 uncovered iron objects and tools, possibly from shipbuilders or later searchers. Season 7's seismic surveys revealed underground shapes, vault-like voids and chambers that seemed too precise to be natural. If the ground reveals a map of chambers and the past offers symbols of purpose, what happens when a camera captures the moment metal meets meaning? Season 8 uncovered Spanish coins from the 1600s, each with its own story of empire, trade, and shipwreck. Skeptics pointed out that coins travel and are often lost and found, but Oak Island has a way of collecting clues that together challenge coincidence. In Season 9, the team revisited Nolan's cross, tracing alignments that seemed more than myth: a cross, a sword, a face emerging where geometry meets geology. Whether natural or man-made, the pattern feels like a signature, or at least a hint of one. And still, the question lingers like the drone itself. Did one unplanned flight capture the moment when speculation became contact? In Season 10, ground-penetrating radar revealed voids and shapes that looked unmistakably like rooms. Artifacts, ceramics, metal fragments, and out-of-place hardware made the invisible real. Season 11 raised the stakes with metallic anomalies and seismic echoes outlining a rectangle underground, a shape many interpreted as a vault. It was a simple, stunning image. A container, a place where a plan ends and a revelation begins. But if the vault is real, will the first witness be a film crew or a fan whose camera happened to be there when steel met stone? Season 12 pushed harder than any before it, with steel caissons driving down relentlessly and the hum of machinery becoming the island's heartbeat. Expectations rose, peaked, and then fell. When the last episode ended, there was no chest, no relic, no glass case to crown the story. Online, familiar cycles of exhaustion, frustration, and defiance took over. Some people turned away, while others dug deeper into forums, transcripts, and freeze frames. A new kind of search began, one that didn't use hydraulics or drill logs, but timelines, rumors, and above all, a single clip. Unless the moment everyone waited for never aired, it leaked. A fan launched a drone from a boat just offshore, climbing to a cautious height and drifting over the money pit. Below, the site moved with routine. Crew on platforms, a steel caisson descending steadily, and workers whose practiced rhythm showed their experience. Then, something changed. The caisson jolted, and a worker crouched with a blue level, pressing it against the steel, not out of habit, but to check for tilt. The shift was slight, but everyone reacted as if the ground itself had changed. The easy flow of work turned urgent. The difference between routine and discovery is subtle until you feel it, and the drone's shaky view captured that moment. The clip is short and imperfect, but it's the most debated piece of Oak Island footage not made by a network. It spread across forums like a rumor you could pause. People slowed it down, stabilized it, and annotated it. What they saw depended on their perspective. Believers saw the vault revealing itself. Skeptics saw a familiar worksite trick. But everyone noticed that something in the crew's posture and the sequence of their actions didn't match a typical day. Could this be the very instant when human effort met human design, when a modern tool finally touched an ancient purpose? What followed was silence, more active than noise. There were no tweets, no press releases, no dramatic trailers, only the vacuum that forms when an answer is being weighed for release. That vacuum drew in every kind of speculation. Some said the crew had finally reached the outer layer of a designed chamber. Others thought they'd hit dense glacial till, famous for pretending to be important. Some believed the island itself is a machine for making stories, and this was just the latest. But everyone agreed, if the clip was staged, it was a terrible stage. Wrong angle, wrong focus, wrong everything. And that's exactly why so many believed it was real. If history prefers whispers to trumpets, maybe this is exactly how it would sound. Stepping back from the excitement and rumors, the island still presents its case as it always has. Smith's Cove and its engineered drains, coconut fiber where none should be, and the 90-foot stone, both in stories and reconstructions, remain persistent riddles. Parchment fragments, metal bits, coins, and the cross all add to the evidence. The alignments of boulders sketch a map only the patient can read. Even the failures are part of the story, because a place that resists so many for so long seems to announce that resistance was intentional. And if resistance was intentional, perhaps the way of discovery was too. Not by shovels below, but by an eye above. Beyond artifacts and alignments, theories flood the island's shores. Pirate treasure is the favorite, a simple story of buried loot and coded markers. Then there are the royalists, who believe the jewels of Marie Antoinette were hidden here by loyalists. Literary loyalists imagine manuscripts and real histories concealed because power prefers certain names. Some trace British military payrolls through the Atlantic, picturing Oak Island as a secure outpost for an army's secrets. Others, more romantic or esoteric, point to the Templars, Freemasons, and Rosicrucian diagrams, seeing the island as a page for faith and mathematics. If a single camera captured the first tremor of truth, which theory will it support when the dust settles? Hold the drone image in your mind, then rewind centuries. Imagine teams hauling timbers into a shaft, notching platforms at intervals because they knew the sea would conspire against careless builders. Picture masons sealing channels beneath Smith's Cove, shaping inlets and outlets so the island could breathe water on command. Envision a mapmaker drawing symbols on paper because words would be too risky if intercepted. Imagine debates by torchlight, gold versus gospel, coin versus codex, weight versus meaning. This is the human drama that must have existed if the island's hints are true. If intent shaped this place, perhaps modern intent has finally brushed against it. Returning to the present, television gives us a clock, but the island refuses to follow it. Season 13 hovers like the drone itself, steady, expectant, watching for a movement that confirms what instinct already suspects. The show has always compressed months into an hour, stretched a gesture into a week of debate, and led the audience toward each season's final question. This time, though, a parallel narrative runs outside the official edit. The fans' clip, raw and unadorned, is a rival format, an uninvited prologue to whatever the network has planned. It floats above the careful structure with the honesty and unpredictability of an accident. What happens to a story when its preview is a rumor that looks like proof? You can feel the shift in the community. Once viewers argued about Templar symbols and Roman artifacts. Now they analyze posture and workflow, becoming connoisseurs of crew behavior. A glance at a level, a motion paused mid-reach, the angle of a boot on steel. These are the signs people read when body language is the only text. In this culture, the drone clip is scripture, an artifact everyone can own because it lives on screens, replayed in private searches for certainty. If the relic that matters most is a pattern of movements, perhaps the relic has already been revealed. The island endures no matter what. It will remain long after episodes end and seasons conclude. It has withstood woodrot and winter, rumor and rage. The strongest argument for a designed mystery is how long the mystery has inspired new designs of machines, methods and stories strong enough to spread across the world. The Laginas and their team became stewards not just of a dig, but of a conversation, shaped as much by geology as by ratings. The island asks for humility even as it tempts ambition. The wisest answer it gives is the one that takes the longest to hear. And if patience is the price of revelation, maybe the drones simply paid it early. Drill logs are technical poems, beautiful to those who understand them, mysterious to everyone else. Seismic charts look like coded sunsets, and water always finds the one stone you forgot to seal. People bring their own convictions to the island, carrying them like tools. That's the nature of mysteries. They reflect us. The pirate finds pirates, the scholar finds scripts, the Templar finds a cross hidden in the sky. When a fan lifted a drone into that sky, they sent up their hopes as well. And what returned was a story that refuses to sit still. If mysteries are mirrors, what did the drone show us about what we already believed? There's a version of this story where the vault holds gold, another where it holds documents, and a darker one where it holds only the outlines of hope pressed into stone. The most generous version is the one where it holds all three: wealth, words, and proof of a plan that outlasted its makers. In that telling, the drone clip isn't the treasure, but the first glint off the lid, not the prize, but the light that proves the prize exists. It's enough to make the world hold its breath, waiting for someone to finally exhale on camera. If light has already touched the lid, how long can darkness keep the room? The world now waits for season 13, just as a shoreline waits for the tide. Viewers will return for answers to see if promises are kept or broken. The crew will come back because that's what they do, and the island will greet them with its usual stoicism. There will be triumphs and setbacks. The archive will grow, the forums will get louder, and the drone will fly again, joined by others, turning the sky into another tool. The story now unfolds on every scale, from shovel blade to satellite. If the sky is the new trench, wasn't the first shovelful already thrown? What remains is the oldest engine of human effort: belief mixed with doubt. The best work comes from those who hold both at once. The Laginas embody that balance, one hand on the dream, one on the ledger. Their team refines and recalibrates, searching for the details where history hides its clues. The audience plays its part by refusing to let the story die. Myths persist because people need them. Mysteries persist because reality leaves them room. Oak Island is both myth and mystery, made of rock and rhetoric, tides and time. Maybe the last door opens not with a key, but with a camera angle. Listen closely, and you'll hear the island argue for scale. Some things are too big to solve quickly. Some secrets require patience and faith to keep searching. The drone clip is a sideways approach. A record not of what was found, but of how people act when they're on the verge of discovery. The tilt of a caisson, the level against steel, the change in faces. These are measurements too, as valid as depth and density, when the instrument is human. What if the first hard data that matters is the look people wear the moment before history changes? If, as many now suspect, season 13 reveals what the fans' footage already implied, it won't erase the centuries that came before, it will honor them. The fables of the 90-foot stone, the auger finds, the drains of Smith's Cove, the cross at season 5, and the voids at Season 10 all become part of a single arc. The story may not end with a chest being opened, but with the possibility finally proven real. That is the treasure of a mystery well told. The chance to believe that some designs truly are as careful as we hoped, and that some secrets really do make their keepers worthy of the task. If revelation sanctifies effort, perhaps the island has already decided we've worked long enough. With every step, the team moved closer to the answers they sought. Though the legendary treasure remains elusive, their unwavering determination keeps hope alive that Oak Island's secrets will one day be revealed. Over the years, they uncovered wooden tunnels that appeared deliberately engineered, a French map from 1647 marked with mysterious symbols, and even a replica cannon suggesting a hidden defense system. In later seasons, discoveries became even more intriguing. A Roman sword buried deep in the earth, Spanish coins from the 17th century, and Nolan's cross, a massive formation of 5 boulders aligned with uncanny precision, revealing a human face and a sword linked to Templar tombs. Could these findings suggest that the money pit was designed to protect not just gold, but artifacts spanning civilizations and centuries? If you want to learn more, check out the next video in this series now appearing on your screen. As the sun sets over Oak Island, the camera slowly pulls back to reveal the coastline bathed in golden light. The sea is calm, the horizon wide, and the island rests quietly as the day fades to black. This is where the story pauses, but the mystery endures, waiting for the next chapter to begin.